Roll call, please.
President Service.
Present.
Trustee Baden.
Here.
Guard. Here. Gannon.
Here.
Michael Kraut. Here. Casmar.
Here.
Ziegler.
Here.
We have a quorum. But as required by law.
Public participation section today. As permitted by Wisconsin open meeting law and while not required, the village board allows public participation during this section of the meeting. Participants may speak for up to 3 minutes. To submit written comment to the board regarding an item on the agenda, please email clerk@BellevilleWI.gov prior to 3 p.m. on the day of a board meeting. The village board shall make no decision or consideration of action of citizens' comments for items not on the agenda, except to refer the matter to the village administrator or to schedule the matter for board consideration at a later date. If an agenda item does not have public comment listed, the board does not have to allow public participation. However, the chair can, at their own discretion, allow limited public comment. Any public comment tonight?
I don't have anybody signed up in person. I do have an email chain that Shelley asked me to read.
Okay.
So settle in, folks. Got a story. No, I'm sorry. Okay. This email from Tom Vaughn on Monday, October 13th at 1:04. Hi, Michelle. Hope you're doing well. I wasn't sure where to direct my question exactly, but I suspect you have your hand on the pulse of the Belleville PD and the current staffing issue they are facing. Admittedly, I'm only responding as a result of the many rumors I am hearing about the reasons for some of the recent staff exits and potential future ones to come. But I'm wondering if the village is involved in any way. Have there been exit interviews conducted from those that have left? And is it gleaning any opportunities to make changes to stop the bleeding and or improve the hiring process? I realize that when we are unable to staff our own patrol car, the Dane and Greene County somewhat covers our village, more so Dane. However, I'm wondering if now might not be a time to reconsider contracting with the DCSO, as was once considered years ago. I know it's a more affordable option for several other communities like Brooklyn, Black Earth, Cambridge, etc. With my background, I'm not one just to take for granted public safety is there when we need it, as I know you are not either. My fear is that we may soon be a one-cop town again if this trend continues. I also have some interest in knowing the past and current budget numbers and expenses for the last couple of years and projections for this year. Is that something I would ask someone from the village for? It may be online and I just haven't found it yet. Thanks for any help, info, or direction you can provide, and thanks for serving the village. Okay, from Shelley on Monday, October 13th, 2025 at 2:44. Hi, Tom. Thanks for reaching out. I completely understand your concern and appreciate you coming to me with your questions rather than relying on rumors. The village only acts on the recommendations of the police committee, which thankfully I am a member of, and any decision made regarding hire/termination of employees. What I can tell you is that as of now, Molly's last day for full-time employment was October 4th. I'm sure you've already seen that she was hired full-time with the New Glarus PD. Katie Euchre's last day was October 8th. She accepted a full-time position with the Stone PD. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go into details regarding Vicky's employment status, but she will be taking some time off through the end of the month, I believe. Unfortunately, neither Molly or Katie were given exit interviews. It was brought up at the last board meeting, but I am doubtful that they were presented anything or that they were even interested in participating. I can tell you from personal conversations with both, there were several factors that led to both their decisions, and the new chief was one of those factors. Right now, the only officer we have is the chief. I believe he only works 40 hours per week. We have been interviewing candidates since June, but we aren't having much luck. We did extend a conditional offer to a gentleman who lives in Wisconsin Rapids and are hopeful that he will accept. Otherwise, none of the other candidates have been qualified or have been able to pass Chief Hughes' background checks for the reasons only known to him. Unfortunately for the police committee, Chief Hughes selects which candidates we interview, so we have no insight until a few minutes before each interview to see their applications or resume. He also implemented some form of online testing that he presented to each applicant, and based on their scores is how he makes a determination if they are worthy of moving to the in-person interviews. I expressed concern about hiring Chief Hughes, but the village was in a panic hire situation and after forcing Chief Michael Kraut into retirement. Right now, the only two potential candidates we have will need to go through the academy, which adds a new level of concern since both Katie and Molly have moved on. and they were our field training officers. We, the police committee, were told that contracting services with Dane and/or Greene counties probably isn't an option because they are both struggling with staffing themselves. So I don't believe that it will be explored in depth. Last night, for example, we had an outside fire and there wasn't an officer on, or the closest Dane County deputy was in Mount Horeb, which didn't sit well with our deputy fire chief. We do need to explore what is financially the most feasible for the village, as well as how to hire and retain good officers. I am open to any and all suggestions because the model we are using now simply isn't working. We are currently working through department budgets and haven't seen a filed PD budget as of yet, but we are told that there is a surplus from last year. Chief Hughes has stated that he isn't familiar with how our budget process works, so I'm not 100% confident that what we will be shown will be actual, but that'll be decided in the next few weeks. I'm not aware of anywhere on the village website that shows the PD's current or future budgets, but I will look into it and get that information to you if I'm able. Personally speaking, I am frustrated, disappointed, and angry about how things with the PD are being handled. I'm only one voice, although mine might be the loudest on the board. Many mistakes have been made in the past year that involve the PD, and it's hard to rebound from them, fix them. I could go on and on. If you have any other questions or you need to clarify, please reach out. I will do my best to get the answers the entire village deserves. Thanks, Shelley. Proud. Okay. Sorry. Tom responds on Monday, October 13th at 3:58. Thank you for your very thorough response. Really confirms much of what I had heard, so I'm happy to see that at least. Unfortunately, it's as bad as it seems, which certainly doesn't sit well with me either. I do suggest you follow through with the potential of contracting with Dane County, as I am not sure you are getting a true picture of the willingness or capabilities to assist. I do believe those other towns and villages, Black Earth, Cambridge, Windsor, Cottage Grove, Brooklyn, pay far less for contract coverage than the village pays to keep its own force. I did some budget numbers on the village website. Budget numbers on the village website after I sent the earlier email. The 2025 PD operating budget, not capital, which I would include vehicle purchases, etc., appears to be over $900,000. That could top $1 million in 2026, I'm assuming, with the 2025 budget of $907,069 for an estimated population of 2,765. Also from the website, that's an annual cost of $322.80 per person. I believe the most expensive contract the county has is with Windsor, and I believe that is $663,200 this year, and their population is close to over 9,000. The data is accurate on the county's website. Windsor is much bigger than Belleville, I believe 3 times the population. Seems to me an arrangement like that can not only save the village quite a bit of money, but also the hiring headache goes away and our coverage improves substantially. Hang in there and keep fighting for what is right. Surely appreciate your willing to serve. Also from Ton Vaughn on Saturday, October 18th. Interesting, I noticed quite a bit of armchair quarterbacking and speculations about what is going on with the BLPD spike up on social media over the weekend. First of all, I know that I have not yet made any comments to fuel this and would never post anonymously. I'm very concerned from a public safety standpoint about the current lack of adequate patrol and response coverage. That should be something that is escalated to the board level, and some level of accountability also falls on the police committee and chief. If I were a member of the board, given the tarnished history and accusations of non-transparency, I would certainly want to get behind this quickly and find out what the root cause is, and just as importantly, get it on a public agenda somehow so it doesn't appear like it's not important or being ignored. Again, transparency and acknowledgement of how this staffing problem affects our village is the first step in solving it. That's my 2 cents worth. Thanks for listening. I hope you had a terrific. Want me to read the email you sent to me? Okay, that's all I've got. Public comment.
Hey, thank you. Consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requested, in which event that the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered the first item after the approval of the consent agenda. And we have minutes from October 6th, October 14th minutes. We have the third quarter village board payroll, September 2025 check register, American Legion Class B beer and Class C wine license, and the Greene County Library exemption.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Deb,
Second.
second by Shelley. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Which president's report? Just have to say that I've been signing a lot of documents, completing transactions lately with property on the west side, the parks, and that. So what I've been up to. Staff reports.
Yeah, Carolina and James Street Parks, we submitted our wire transfer today. I think there was a holdup at the bank, and so, we signed everything, so we should be closed, but we never got the final confirmation. That, once we get final confirmation, I can get the developer start, or the construction company start working on the ground. So, next year.
You guys got the year-to-date budget. If there's any questions about that.
Nothing in my clerk's office tonight.
On Saturday, I worked with David Berg and volunteers from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we planted 40 new trees out in Bell West. A big old volunteer event. I think we had like 27 volunteers there. Pretty good. Good Saturday. And the biggest item of public interest, though, I know everyone wants their leaves picked up. It's probably going to be a week. We are really busy in public works land. Probably a week. So.
I think maybe there should be a post that goes out on social media about that.
It's a good idea. Yes.
Date from tonight's meeting that Dave usually puts out.
Yeah, okay, Chris.
No, nothing.
Business. All right, discuss, consider next steps regarding the municipal facility project.
Yeah, so the board asked me at the last meeting to come up with potential new ideas for municipal hall, village hall. So my memo kind of outlines that. The board kind of has two options in village hall wise. You could fix up this current village hall. I kind of came up with a rough landscape of that. Or a rough landscape of across the street of 1 West Main. Both of these are assuming that after conversations with the municipal judge, that the court goes over to 130 South Vine after some renovations. So that is what both of these buildings are assuming at this moment. Village Hall remodel, pros, we don't have to buy a new building, and residents don't have to get used to a new building. Cons, that it is expensive. There's a lot of ADA issues with this building. It's not going to be a simple fix to that. And if you put in walls, then the air ducts are not really in the best shape. So we'd probably have to do a lot of other work that I could see problems arising. It also doesn't solve our basement or upstairs issue. And then when remodeling, where does Village Hall steps go? And then 1 West Main, which is the pharmacy building. The current sale price is $340. I think we could put $250 into it to make it what we need to. The design is on the next page. The back section that has food pantry and the flex offices would be additions where the current drive-through is. It has a really nice basement. Safe in the basement, safe upstairs. Plenty of room. It doesn't have ADA to the basement, but it does. It could be eventually if that's something on the village board wanted. I think you can spend a lot less money there and still do everything that we need, and we wouldn't have to build a new building. And it keeps the village hall on Main Street, which is something that the village board has asked for. Both scenarios also assume that for the pretty much time being, village, this meeting will be at 130 South Vine. So you are assuming that as well. Any questions? Broad direction. If you guys, this is more of a conversation on pros and cons. Do you like it? And then I did have a closed session on the agenda. If you guys would like to make an offer at that point, this conversation is more, do you like the idea? And then closed session would be if you actually want to, what would that offer look like?
Like I said, I do like this idea. It keeps the village hall on Main Street. It's cost of renovation. Yeah, that's,
One of the upsides to it too is if we do upgrade it, village hall staff does not have to move while doing that, so we don't have to rush. We can do it right the first time and then move as a group, or if we're extending the back, we can always do the inside first and then food pantry gets finished off as we're going in or something like that, but it gives everybody what they need.
I have to ask, how excited is the village staff to have the board managed to a different building?
Sure. I mean, village staff, obviously, it'd be nice to have more room to work. This room does make it awkward for, especially for the people that have desks down here, but like, this is what we're used to as well, though, so I don't know, like.
It'll be interesting because we can't just run to our office or our desk and get what we need if we figure out something.
Now,
How many steps are there over at the,
To get into the building,
no, to go down to the basement over there?
Oh, it's,
15.
Yeah, I'd say it's
Yeah.
a full set of stairs going up.
So there's steps, landing steps.
And what would that area be kept, just as storage for?
So that would be your long, we're not gonna do any short-term storage on there. I'm hoping that we could store what we use in the day-to-day regarding, most files we're moving to digital mostly anyway. So what your basement would just be our long-term storage and any kind of extra supplies that we use as a seasonal basis. The kind of like the same things we have down in the basement now, which is like decor and extra furniture and the long-term files, which do need to be sorted through, but is not a high priority. Our day-to-day files are kept here in the vault.
And there is a vault where it says storage and this other, that's all.
Well, and with moving the elections to 130 South Vine, that we're gonna, I mean, half what's in there is election storage, and there'll be some we'll still use at Village Hall for like absentee voting and things, but a lot of our other, like our big equipment and stuff, we will keep locked up at 130 South Vine.
The thing I don't see on the diagram where there's bathrooms in that building, and where are they? I forget.
Yeah, so if you look at the, what would be the stairs that is in that
Okay,
right corner,
all right, okay, that's right.
there's two bathrooms actually on the first floor. And then there is a bathroom stubbed out on the basement that has a toilet and a sink. So if we do upgrade, we can always. It allows for that future growth work here. You're gonna have to put a lot of work in this basement if you do the offices up there. And then upstairs is just disaster.
I agree. I like the idea of it staying on Main Street, so I think it's something we should at least explore, so.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's that. And then for public works wise, we think we can get different numbers from somebody else. So, what kind of talk we're gonna do?
yeah, so I mean, what's really common for public works and parks departments is to have more of like a steel building, like think Cleary. I know there's a few other companies do it. I don't mean to be like Pump and Cleary or anything, but that's just the person that comes to mind. But you could do like a nice insulated building with office areas. You can even do like, you know, different facade choices to make it look nicer than like a pole barn. But those buildings come in considerably cheaper than the cast concrete or whatever it was that they were pitching for that ridiculous amount of money when they were here. It was crazy pants. It's still, I mean, it will still be objectively expensive, because you still got, you know, wherever the site is, you've got the site work that needs to take place, the stormwater, the grading, you know, depending whether or not there'd be gas tanks and that, whether or not there'd be storage, whether or not you add a new salt building, like all those other variables. But I mean, as it is, oranges, apples and apples. With the design that we had from them, cutting that down to only public works and using those building materials and that concept, it should be considerably cheaper.
So I had a developer come to me last week about some type of potential partnership. If they help build the building, could we give them our old building, something like that? So that is also did a some kind of public-private partnership as well. But I think public works, we have a better option by going out and seeing what else is out there on Village Hall wise. When asked by Tierney and Donna, they were very much. We like that.
The requirements change at all for village hall needs if and we might become a city?
Not really, city status is more paperwork wise and extends our extra jurisdictional boundary. But Mary's got some more work on paperwork wise, but not staff wise. Like you can tell already, like, I built offices out for human resources eventually, community development eventually, flex workspaces and more just cubicles. So I've already built out like 4 or 5 more offices in there. That is, could be eventual growth. So that's gonna be 10, 15 years out.
Being a city is it's
Right.
almost entirely an administrative exercise. Like if it were on the agenda and you had the resolution, you could become a city tonight. So it's,
I really like being a village clerk, so I'm just saying, let's be like, it's good. We're good.
Asking.
Point out, just because no one's mentioned it, I haven't heard it mentioned. We take this other building on Main Street, you get to liquidate this one. Which is nice for your cash flow.
it's benefit. I don't think it would be evens, but I mean, it would be considerably cheaper and more efficient than trying to redo this building and find a home for us in the meantime.
I think the answer to the con of, where would village staff go if this facility was remodeled, I think probably be 130 South Pine, but we'd have to set up some sort of temporary office space there, which would be a hassle also.
Yeah, border.
And then we'd have conflicting space usage with meetings and that kind of stuff. I personally don't find a whole lot of value in keeping Village Hall on Main Street. I think the locations of Main Street are better served to businesses and things that draw attention. I think when I walk down, bustling Main Street areas and in other cities, I generally don't see the Village Hall. So that's not a priority in my book. And cash flow wise to remodel estimate, so. Abby?
What does the person want to build public works for?
What does he want public works for? We haven't discussed.
So what if he wants to tear it down and make apartment buildings? That's what you guys have been talking about, so I guess.
Generally the idea.
Yeah, I think if the board wanted to do a public-private partnership, something like that, I think there's a. Reasonable, just. Have the conversations. Maybe we didn't have that. Are you guys, the board, fine with us going out to get, some sort of pricing on going out to like Cleary or something like that?
I think if I remember correctly, the Pittsburgh Public Works building around Fish Hatchery Road is more or less a Cleary building with some brick and everything on there. So
Parks Department for
we
Vermont
can,
as well.
we can make those look very nice, so.
We're being called 70.
I think so. I mean, we've already got concept, and, basic square footage from, so we could probably just cobble together what we want to keep and give them that information and make it work up a quote. At least for the building, that's what they say, all that kind of stuff, that's all different.
We still don't have a site for that.
Yeah, and I'd say at this point, ready to recommend a site yet, so I want to figure out what a cost of building like. It's all 3 sites that we talked about are all same building wise, so I want to just actually figure out what that's gonna cost, and then we can talk.
I mean, I think most of those companies just do. Yeah. That's-
It's to estimate on public works. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Discuss and consider phase one of the community and Sugar River Park projects.
Yeah, so hearing your feedback at the last meeting as well, I have condensed or kind of changed our original scope of the park projects that is in blue on the map that's attached to the agenda. Really, the outside stuff is really for community park. All that really, in my eyes, needs to be done. We can obviously do that inside stuff eventually. That's it will, but we don't, it doesn't have to be a top priority right now. It can be 5-10 years down the line. We will have that, we have this map designed, so eventually we know, okay, this is happening, we just don't have to do it now. All that blue stuff is kind of the landscape work in a sense, but it's putting back the shelter where it used to be by the playground, putting a shelter down by the dam, fixing up the entranceway where the old mill was. That area is corroding. Even from working with the engineer on kind of what that process will look like. So we definitely need that. Fixing up the aeration building is already a project on the CIP. Getting the launches and boat launches kind of redesigned, and then the verse mix are donating to pier, so just getting that area fixed up, but that's staff's recommendation for community park. So really nothing except the turnaround for the launch on the berm side, but none of the road work done at this point.
What's the cost of the first phase?
I was trying to figure that out with MSAs, what they used, but they have a lot of ground movement and we're not gonna have as much of that. So, if you guys were good with this kind of thought, I was gonna send it back to MSA to do a full design and then send it back to the Parks Committee to kind of figure out processes and getting that going. Cause yeah, they had a lot of like the ground movement for the street and all that, and I didn't know how to parse it out without.
Just so you guys are aware too, because I don't think anybody took it into account when they were doing the parks thing, the cement area that overlooks the river where, you know, the mill used to sit. There's that area that has the black railings and in really bad shape. And then there's the spillway, which is kind of a secondary dam there. The spillway is in relatively good shape, but there's some questions of whether or not there's been some movement, and we're looking into that. So it might just be a repair job that would remain.
Where the mill was.
Where the mill was, the basement, the concrete that's over the basement, all of that would be completely removed and graded to match the surrounding slope. Yeah, so that would be what that part of the project is.
I guess my only concern would be to make sure that none of this impacts, you know, phase two, I guess, you know, that when you move to doing the other interior areas of the design, that we're not, you know, wrecking anything, which on the surface here doesn't look like it will, but I don't, it's all involved with all the heavy machinery needed potentially. So seems pretty logical to me.
It's pretty similar to Sugar River Park, the outside. So for majority of it, it's the trail. But then on the north end of that, it's the parking lot. And then the north side of all that gets batting cages put in, the stand, trees, parking lot, that kind of stuff. But none of the that down will be touched until such time as the other side of Ringy Road comes. I don't wanna do the baseball diamond, soccer fields and all that. Take my lot offline if we don't have a substitute on where they would go. So that's why I've held off on that.
Now, as far as the parking here. Side.
Yeah.
Sure.
$56.
That will, if we end up having to put public works over there, that interfere.
Yeah, we would pause that.
Yeah, so obviously we should start until we.
Yeah.
Decide.
Are you still taking information on these parks? Ideas or follow-ups that I have done?
Most of that process is done. It's on the
I am,
committee,
I'm
right?
the Parks Chair. Did you have,
Well, I mean, is the ball diamond gone in Community Park? I guess.
no,
But I
it
mean,
moved, but
well,
it's not gone.
but it's not really gonna be a ball diamond. Be,
Like a sand.
so. So I contacted Home Talent and talked to Kurt Jilks and asked his opinion. And he said, yes, he heard through the grapevine that this was happening. He said that they, obviously like playing there. All the teams that come into town love playing there. He said if that is the result, he said he will try Sugar River, but if they don't like it, they will move the team out of town.
Can you bring that to the Parks meeting? The 5th. Are you able to come the 5th?
Yeah, I didn't know they were doing it tonight. I planned on coming because I couldn't make the last one. Really shouldn't be here tonight. But I also talked to Bryson Joe, who runs the community park softball. He also was not aware. I asked both of these members if they thought men's softball would come back into play. They both agreed it would eventually. It's only been 2 years since there hasn't been a men's softball league in town. I think you're not hitting it on the mark. I don't know the need for 6 shelters in an island, 121 parking spots. And the city's got to keep all this up when 6 shelters you're expecting is going to be used. It just doesn't make sense. I've also got insight on some of these boat launches. Number one isn't going to work for anybody. It's got a trailer. The only one that basically would work is the one that comes in the entrance so they can back out. Coming in here, if they try to come in and turn and go around, it would be very difficult. If Sugar River kayaks and everything, their only option probably would be down here with their equipment. And then, so that's kind of inconvenient.
Well, actually, this is all stuff that should be brought up with the Parks Committee.
Okay.
So if
That's fine if that's
you're
where.
able to come the 5th, then we can.
One, and I thought before it got put in the box, I just think if we're gonna spend this kind of money, I mean, let's spend it wisely. I mean, I'm up for putting stuff in there. I don't have a problem with that. But we gotta be smart about it.
I have to ask, looking at the current plan for the community park, where the ball diamond currently is, it just says large shelter.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that ball diamond can't stay where it is, just put the large shelter somewhere else?
That's the amphitheater. And so at the public meetings, they were very adamant that it needed to face that direction and not towards the houses.
We're guaranteed it's gonna be used in 80, 90 degree weather.
So that was very much a. They approved, that was,
That's just,
yeah, that was,
Any other board comments on either park? Phase one? I need to get something.
What I've been saying all along, you're gonna save a lot of money if you leave Ball Diamond where it is. You wanna put the shelter, put it somewhere else over there. You got room, you seem to be thinking we got room to do all this, then just leave the Ball Diamond where it is. It's got its backdrop, it's got its fences. It's got the mound already there.
donated scoreboard.
These people wanna play down there.
That's, can we take that to the Parks Committee and have that discussion? Thank you.
Okay. Looking for a motion to move forward, or you just need
I wanted direction.
say direction, go ahead with getting,
The limited outside.
yeah. All right, item number 10, on to new business. Let's consider 11 East Main Street inspection report and possible raise order.
So you guys received the inspection report from GEC. I did send a copy of the report on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Last Wednesday, after the CDA meeting, to the property owner, and I invite you guys to I received. So according to GEC's opinion, this would exceed the statutory limit for reasonable repairs based on the assessed value of the property. The CDA did vote to recommend a raise order to the board. In light of the communication from the property owner, I'd still like you to consider the raise order if you'd like, but whether or not you pass it, I'd like 30 days to try to work with the property owner to see if they can make progress in good faith towards whatever end to improve the property. You know, if you guys decide they did want to vote to issue the raise order, stay that for 30 days. If there was no material progress, then we can go ahead and file on the 30th day. So basically a stay of execution for 30 days.
So what happens once a raise order is filed?
So once the Rick would draft the order, it would be recorded on the property with the Register of Deeds. Maren would publish a Class 1 notice. Chris would placard the building as unfit for human habitation, which if you vote tonight, he would do anyways because it is. And then the owner would be served by a process server with that same recorded raise order. They would have 30 days from that point to raise the building and reclaim the land. If they fail to do so, then the village would be responsible for raising the building, reclaiming land, and the cost of which would be invoiced, but ultimately put on the tax bill of the property. The property does currently have 2 years of back taxes.
So see the response from Jason Klein, and there was also a carbon copy to Kim Budin. Who owns that building? Is it Jason or is it Kim or?
Jason Klein's the sole owner of the building.
Is this the first response you've gotten? Because I know GEC's been there a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Yeah, they were there, I want to say a month ago, maybe a little bit more. But we finally got the inspection report early last week. And enough time to put it to the CDA for them to consider. So they're a little late in getting that back. But we've had communication since, I want to say February or March of this year. I sent the owner a registered letter. He responded to me. We got him hooked up with GEC, and it was just a process back and forth. And GEC went ahead and started the process all over again. And that's what the delay was. But I mean, he's been communicative.
But he hasn't been proactive.
Correct.
Like the building.
Right.
Well, I guess
It's still entirely up to you guys what you'd like to do, but
You're recommending we give him another 30 days.
falls entirely in his court. If you decided you'd still want to you still want to issue the raise order, you could vote to do so. Kind of like with a 30-day lead time there. And then, if it doesn't make any progress, and the raise order be required, and the dominoes will fall. And so I could tell you the first thing, based on GEC's report, the first thing I would ask him to do is provide me within 30 days, structural engineer's report on the building. So if he were to complete that task, then we could move forward in good faith. If he were not to complete that task, then the raise order would be issued, reported.
Building's been falling down for years. I feel like it doesn't warrant an additional 30 days.
It's entirely up to you guys. I don't know what process has gone on, what happened before I got here, no idea. So
Does it give us some legal protection to give him the 30 days?
nope, there's absolutely no difference. Said based on
I'm inclined to agree, just issue the raise order.
It sounds like it's gonna we end up paying for it anyway, because he's not even paying his taxes on it.
I would assume very much so.
I have his budget in next year's budget.
Out of our dime.
That property remains.
That's the first building we've raised on Main Street that was on the village's dime, so.
What will probably likely happen, unless he decides to do it all and pay the back taxes, is will be the largest creditor when the property goes to sheriff's auction. And so we'll have the ability to
Recoup some,
probably not, but pick up the piece of land for what's owed to the other taxing authorities, basically.
I'd make a motion and we proceed with the raise order.
Second.
Discussion.
Sorry, I missed the second because I had two simultaneously. Tony, you're,
Tony.
thank you.
More inclined to, this has been going on for a long time as it is. This is the most information I've gotten from the property owner regarding the situation. And I would rather see you give the 30 days and bring this back to the first board meeting following that 30 days to take action on it or not.
You would, if you did the 30 days, you would give action that tonight, that within 30 days, it would happen. It wouldn't come back to you.
Okay.
You can do it either way. I just figured if you guys gave the 30 days, but still approve the raise order, that would show resolve on the board's part to have the matter closed.
We have a motion on the floor to issue the raise order immediately, correct?
That is
Right.
correct.
That's what's on the floor right now, so. I would propose an amendment to the motion to have the raised order issued after 30 days if no progress is made towards a resolution with the property owner.
I'll second it.
So. Any other comment on the amendment?
I'm confused now.
So
So we're gonna give them the extra 30 days.
well, there's a motion to amend the first motion. First motion was to issue the raise order immediately. The amendment would change the motion to issue the raise order in 30 days if no progress has been made with the property owner. So essentially, the raise order is 30 days out.
So doing it this way, just because we haven't done this way in a long time, just to let everybody know, point of order. Doing it this way, the amendment gives you the option to vote on that amendment first. And then whether that passes or fails, then we will vote on the motion, either amended or as stated originally.
Okay. So I'm going to ask for a vote on the amendment. And that is to add the 30 days to the original motion. Everyone understand?
that voice or roll?
Let's do some roll call.
Okay,
Keep it clear.
give me just a second to make notes.
Sure.
Okay, so on the amendment, which is to include the raise order after 30 days, no progress is made with the property owner, President Service,
Yes.
trustee Bannon,
No.
Hoggard,
No,
Cannon,
No.
Eckrop,
No,
Hasmar,
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Okay, that fails on a 3 to 4. Okay, so that would be then when you're ready to call the vote on the motion as originally intended.
Motion failed, or amendment failed.
Let's see.
I guess, it's the most action we've gotten from the property owner that I'm aware of. So maybe he's willing to do something, but I guess it's that. So roll call vote for issuing a raise order immediately?
President Service,
No?
Bannon,
Yep.
Hoggard,
yes,
Cannon,
Yes.
Eckrop,
Yes.
Hasmar, Ziegler.
No.
Okay, that passes on a 4 to 3.
Motion passed.
Mr. President, my question is, we need to go through the same process, building to the west? Because we're not getting anywhere with them either.
Yes, but therein also lies the problem. So I discussed this back in February, March, before I sent the first registered letter to Mr. Klein. The CDA did have me send a letter to him, but not send a letter to the owner of the park hotel. Because I have a very good suspicion that we would end up in the same place with the Park Hotel, and I don't believe that there is an appetite to have that building torn down. I have cited the owner of the Park Hotel. Obviously, nothing has changed. So it's kind of just a holding pattern now of citation. They don't appear to court. I don't know if they paid a citation or not. I could be wrong. I mean, it could be under the threshold,
Well,
but
and again, and I understand, I don't think anybody wants to see the hotel, the Park Hotel building torn down, but we are getting nowhere with property owners. So I think we need to, whether it be CDA or finance or whoever, or plan commission needs to explore all the other possibilities to get that building taken care of. I mean, we granted the beer garden license to the Dam Bar just because Scott's in a tough place with that, and he did fix some of the things that we suggested that he fixed, but it's not his building to fix, and it's getting ridiculous with that building, to be very honest, so.
That's gotta go back to the committee to deal with that instance. It's not tonight. You have a comment about
Just wondering if it has been inspected, like this,
11 East Main or?
the
The hotel.
Okay, well, we're not talking- So. Okay. So, all right, that has passed. Next item of business, discuss and consider a rezoning application for the Village West condos to be rezoned from PUD RE planned unit development elderly residential to planned unit development district.
Yep, so the West Condo Association basically, for a number of reasons, want to turn themselves into the West Side. Missing it. Homeowners Association. Thank you. It's not a club. It could be a club, I guess.
I'm sorry, I need
Homeowners. What? Okay, Homeowners Association. And so in doing that, talking to Rick about the easiest way to go about that, the easiest way was for rezone and to replat it. as a different type of PUD. What it currently is. This had come before you guys before to see if there was any appetite to move forward. You guys said you were fine with it, so it's gone through Plan Commission, and one note from Plan Commission sent me down a rabbit hole, and which is what we're dealing with tonight. So I dug up the implementation plan for the planned unit development. And that's basically the site plan for the large site where, you know, all the structures, parking spaces, the private infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. So everything's laid out, from tree plantings to streetlights. And I inspected the implementation plan, you know, what actually there versus what was supposed to be completed. And there's a lot that's not or done incorrectly. It's no fault of the homeowners, because this stuff should have been done along with the development. And so that's kind of the weird place it sits right now. And so I do recommend the approval of the rezone. The preliminary plat's been approved, and it'll go through final plat if the rezone is approved. As for the developer, there's a few different mechanisms to force compliance with the plan, and either have them complete the plan as it should be, fix whatever problems, or in some other way acceptable to the condo association, make them whole. Now, the next item that we have is the rezone for, was it 637 Village Drive? And that is the same developer that is asking for that rezone. You can basically table that rezone and not approve it until or unless these items are met. The developer also owns one of the units, continues to own one of the units in the condo association. The transfer of that unit can be halted until all these are done. And I believe some associated costs, if there is work that need to be done according to the development agreement, can be put on the tax roll of that unit. I'm not sure of exactly which, because I didn't hear back from Rick before this meeting about it. And then the third, which I believe is probably enforceable, but again, I didn't hear back from Rick, is we issue a municipal revenue obligation payment every spring to the developer, an amount, it's just over $100,000 for you know, all the improvements in the TID. Well, these are improvements in the TID that were not complete, and the payments started under the presumption that all of the infrastructure was complete. So I don't think it, like I said, need to get back from Rick for sure, but I think it probably, we can withhold payment in full or in part until this is done. So there are mechanisms, and I would hate to see them get blamed for something that is entirely not their fault.
The only the only devil's advocate that I will project is we're waiting for a developer to get a stormwater basin done on the west side to close on. And that's been supposed to be done for 2 years now. It has not. And we are waiting on selling the other lot, which you guys have already approved, until that stormwater gets done. And so that's not their fault, but they are being delayed because of that as well. So I know we're already dealing with a developer not getting all their stuff done as they said they would. So, yeah, that's the only thing that you need to keep in mind.
So maybe Ian, you could clear some of this up for me, but what I'm understanding, my biggest concern is that if this changes its legal structure, naming, whatever, that getting the developer to finish this is going to be even more complex and troublesome with, you know, if the handling of it changes before the developer finishes what they're supposed to do. So that's my biggest concern, and then we're gonna have a bigger mess than what we already are dealing with.
Can I comment?
And just hold on a second. I personally would like to, hold the developer accountable for getting this finished properly. And I am completely on board with holding off on anything else until it's done. Withholding payments, if we can legally do that, is fine with me. Not approving the next agenda item, I'm fine with that. I tolerance for things being incomplete is gone. So that's my concerns.
This has been a significant issue with developers. My other concern is there are 54 ordinance variances.
Well, that would have been.
That would have
if we had
been
gone any other route but PUD.
But we're not going to require them.
No.
Essentially, what we're doing is creating a back door to get around our ordinances.
It was originally created with the PUD, yeah. So planned unit development, it's a fickle thing. It's kind of a catch-all for planning, but usually it's only used with condo associations or with mixed-use developments where you have a lot of commercial and apartment or condos put together. In this specific case, it was used to increase the number of single-family homes that could be put in one spot and reduce the infrastructure requirements, so the infrastructure wouldn't have to be built to spec. And so save money, cram them in. Why it was done originally by the developer. And so because they're single-family homes, they're running into the big problem they have with insurance because they find it really hard to insure single-family home condo units.
But I mean, wouldn't the remedy, frankly, litigation with the developer? Then rather than putting it on, and I have a great deal of sympathy, but we can't put it on everyone else in the village, and like I said, this creates a way where every developer will be like, well, we just won't follow the ordinances and then we'll go into that.
Yeah, in this specific one, I mean, I wish Rick had gotten back to me about, the whole litigation aspect and what is possible, what is not possible. He didn't. So, I can say that, like, I doubt that, I certainly wouldn't recommend, and I doubt that we would pass a planned unit development like they have right now that they're dealing with. So there's that, but yes, basically it was done that way. It was a backdoor. They were allowed to put more units in with less, by paying less for infrastructure, stuff like that. And it ended up living and holding it back. It ain't right, but I mean, they may have a case to litigate. I don't know. I know that, the developer is in violation of their development agreement with the village. So the village, I mean, they're in breach. So the village would likely have grounds for litigation against the developer on top of the other things that I said. It might be, sticks.
That's the way we go to send a message.
I think taking the most aggressive steps possible is necessary at this point.
Because he's not gonna do it himself.
And is it also possible that we table the Village Drive until he completes this and then the other two property issues?
Yeah, that's what I wasn't able to reach out to him because he's out of the country. But I plan to when he gets back. I have an idea when he gets back. So after that point, but yeah, that's what I recommended is just we table the Village Drive conversation altogether until this is remedied somehow.
So I'm reading your letter here again. So you're recommending that we go ahead with the rezoning without any contingency. I think we need it's our contingency that we don't approve the 637 Village Drive at this point,
It's
or?
an entirely separate issue. The only way it's linked is by the original developer, which has no part in there.
Right. But I mean, I think I think 7 of us sitting up here think that he needs to fix the issues and
He does.
we need to do whatever we can to get him to fix those issues sooner than later. And one of those things is not approving any future things. So is the motion that needs to be made for this specific agenda item just to approve the rezone, or should there be more to it?
For this one, it'd just be to approve the rezone. And like I said, I haven't had a chance to talk to the developer in question and, I will when I'm able to and kind of get a gauge of where everything is and get their opinion on what I found. And we can bring it back to the board and I intend to bring it back to the board. When I have more information, but like I said, it doesn't,
What does that do for them?
Right.
I said,
It's if I can speak, it's two separate issues, though. We just need the rezoning. That doesn't have anything to do really with the development. And I think what Ian's letter points out is just where the gap in the village was this follow-up when these developments go in. There was nobody making sure the site plan was followed through. Nobody followed through, inspected the property at the time. I mean, this is a development that's been there for 4 years, so I think it just created that. But to rezone for us allows us to go through with this deconversion process that we're attempting to do. It's really separate from what the developer hasn't completed. I think it just created a path for Ian to find out what was missing and a piece of what the village hasn't been following up on.
So is that our building inspector that's not following up, or who dropped the ball on our end?
I honestly don't even know where to start with that one. I mean, when the infrastructure is put in the ground, it's the engineer firm that does the inspection, but I mean, considering that everything above ground, including the roads and everything, was private, they wouldn't have inspected the roads even. So they would have inspected, I would believe, and Kevin can correct me later, but some of the grading and stormwater, sewer water, that's what they would have inspected. Everything else usually falls on the zoning administrator, who at that point was contracted through GEC. And I don't think he ever inspected anything like eyes on here. So I don't know if Chris did eyes on inspections for him for anything. I have no idea. Like, I just assumed that it was a ball nobody even knew was in the air.
How do we prevent this from happening with future developments? Who's gonna follow up to make sure this is getting done?
Staff.
Yeah.
So back to my original concern, if we approve the rezoning tonight, will it complicate things for following through to get in compliance with the approved SIP?
It's a really good question. I want to say no, but honestly, I don't know.
My concern, like I said, is this bunch of legal stuff, and which could make it easier for him to get out of doing it.
He said we have a development agreement. I mean, it's obvious that the final terms were not met of the development agreement. And, it wasn't constructed as approved. So whether you rezone it, replat it, whatever, that development agreement as it is enforced is in breach. I'm an attorney. I don't know all the ins and outs. I don't know if this would in some way negatively affect the village's standing in any legal way.
I mean, this has been going on for months. I'd love to make a motion to do this, but again, can we try to get a hold of Rick now and see if he can give an answer to that question, or?
We can try, but he has another meeting right now, so.
So could we pass the rezoning contingent on he has to have that stuff done? But that still then is gonna leave them hanging, isn't it?
Yes, that could leave them hanging for months.
Yeah.
I would like to avoid,
Yeah, so
like I said, it's not their fault.
not their fault. They're caught in the middle here.
Well, two questions. Again, I'm concerned that we're creating a situation where the developer can be like, well, we're gonna do this, but they'll rezone it later, And the other is that you said this infrastructure wasn't inspected when it was put in. And we're taking responsibility for that infrastructure that we have.
Oh, no,
No,
we're not.
No.
In this, no, I mean, we have responsibility like we do for any sewer water pipe in the ground. So there's that, but I mean, there are no sidewalks, the road width, the road construction, that kind of stuff, like that's not the village spec.
That's ours.
Yeah, but that's there.
We'd have to though,
What's that?
if the HOA falls. we'd have to.
Yeah, but it's no different than in a condo association. Like for some reason, the road would deteriorate to a point where it was unsafe and they didn't have the money to fix it. We would still have to step up and do it regardless of whether you call them a condo association.
But
Like
we
that's like the only.
already talked that we have reserve fund for our capital project items, and that gets added to every year or so. And if there isn't enough money, it gets assessed to homeowners. So there is money to cover all that.
Yes, I have a great deal of sympathy for your situation. But I'm concerned about a bad behavior.
To speak to
Well,
precedent
then
about,
don't pass another PUD like this is how you prevent it.
I was,
Don't pass another.
this was the
I
first
like
PUD that the village did, and yeah, I think
That's
we learned a lot
how you
after.
prevent it.
So,
So this is bringing to light all the things maybe that shouldn't be passed in the future. But right now, we're built, we're there. And so we're trying to communicate, create a situation for 27 senior citizens of Belleville to have the lowest amount of money spent per, month for them, which is not to be a condo. Condo would be very expensive. We're just trying to do what's best for our 27 homes.
We're
And
trying to
this would
do
be
what's
the-
best for the village. So we're all trying to work it out here. I know this particular developer has failed in many ways with, especially when it comes to grading, because I live in the development that he also did, and the grading was never done correctly. So,
But is it
we're on
fair?
the same time frame, surprisingly. Anyway, I digress.
That's just it. We're penalizing you for something that's not your fault.
Correct.
So,
How do we work
I don't
around
either.
it? That's the question.
Do you have a comment?
Mr. President, I was just wondering, as you're planning and going forward, if you rezone this, does that change the numbers as far as your residencies, like affordable housing, single family, multiple, and that kind of thing? Does that cause a problem with this rezone?
It's all built.
I think so.
It does,
That would just be that's one of the thoughts that I came
it's literally just
listening to
the
the.
rezone and the replat allows you to add imaginary lines. It's all about imaginary. lines. That's all it is.
I can just speak to the rezone process. Like, I know there's concern about setting a precedence of doing this in the future, but I think having now spent a good time learning the rezone process, there are a lot of steps to it. And it goes through a lot of us, and then it goes to plan commission. And I mean, you can't talk about what a future plan commission would and wouldn't have appetite to do. But in the short term, anyway, I don't think that we'd be setting a precedent just because the process of rezoning is complicated and we're aware of the situation. And like, this is an outlier situation where when that development went in, there were no neighbors to contact to consent. There was no any of that. So, which would happen now in a rezone in a lot of other places. So I wouldn't be as long, I mean, like I said, I can't speak for staff 10 years from now, and whether they're as savvy as staff now would be, but like, I wouldn't say necessarily we're setting a precedent here in rezoning this for them that would allow any developer to backdoor it. It's not as simple as saying, I want to backdoor it, and they do it. Like, there are some,
That's kind of addressing Scott's concern.
right.
I'm just more worried about getting this corrected as simply as possible. I've got this vision in my head of there's, name changes and holding company changes, and it all gets lost or tracked or somehow just
Change name.
makes it so it doesn't happen. And that's where. Go ahead, Connie.
I have a question. How long have we had this building inspected?
Over a decade. Well, not the same inspector, but company over a decade. I don't know
How
exactly.
long has your building been there? Ma'am?
4 years.
4 years.
2 to 4
I
years.
asked the building company the other meeting back, how many houses that they inspected over there, and he told me every one of them. So if he did every one of them, would he have caught what was wrong here?
well, it's not.
That's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally different.
So they don't have to be inspected by the.
Yeah, they were inspected, the houses were inspected, but the streets and
Streets
other
and
things
catch
that-
basins and.
It's not public right away, so we really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to pin the tail on anybody here. It's my position that messed up. So
I would also like to point out that Ian and Rick talked before and decided our first step in this would be to come before the village board and discuss this. And we were given the green light to move ahead on our process. And what that equates to is a lot of money. So we have paid the fees to the village. Not only that, but we've also paid fees to our surveyor who is doing our final plat map as we speak. It's almost done, to a tune of $20,000. And we are working with legal counsel in this process. So we have had a lot of legal fees as well. So we are very invested in this project and we are very far along in it.
So legally, should somebody take the developer to court to force this?
I'd say that's still a little ways away.
Yeah.
I wanted to try to talk to him and I haven't even had a chance to, show him what I found during inspections or anything like that.
So how long is the list of items that need to be corrected?
I provided it.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
it's
8
pretty
items.
long.
Oh, yeah, okay. That was
There
right.
may be more than that.
Landscaping, lighting,
Yeah,
parking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
areas.
Yep.
Drive entry. Signage, stormwater collection, grading,
Yeah.
drainage area. It's grading,
I'm not an engineer or a surveyor, so the grading, like, it doesn't look right to me, but I am not
So if
qualified.
we approve this tonight and held everything else up contingent upon him getting those items fixed, that's our power. That's our
Right.
Yes,
come on him, right?
yes.
So I'm going to make a motion because this has been going on. They've been trying to do this for months. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the application from the West Village condos to be rezoned from public PUDRE to PUD land unit development.
Second.
second, Debbie.
And just for a point of order, what we're gonna do is approve the application tonight. There will be if you do go ahead and approve the positive vote, we'll have an ordinance written
For the next meeting.
for the next, it'll go on the consent agenda the next meeting because you've already approved it. Just, we were waiting to write the ordinance for the rezones until you guys decided what exactly you wanted to do tonight.
Any other board discussion?
Is this contingent on these things being fixed or? is this-
No,
Okay, that's enough.
because we still have the power over him. If we don't approve any of his other projects until he gets those items fixed, so.
You hold his feet to the fire.
And there are possible other remedies as well.
Yeah.
So it's not part of the motion, but directing staff to address the developer these issues. Has been made. So. All right. Any other comments? Voice vote.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. And staff has direction to follow up with the developer to get this into compliance, hopefully. So that completes this agenda item. And moving on to the next then. Discuss and consider a rezoning application for 637 Village Drive to be rezoned from residential, single-family, high-density to two-family residential district.
I make a motion, we table this.
Second.
As I said, it's been through before, and I mean, as it stands, I don't have any issue with it besides what we'd already discussed.
Fine with not acting on this. So, know a little more.
So, and just, I mean, I realize we're talking about this specific item, but this applies to any future requests from this developer then also until these items are satisfied,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
This is a hard stop, correct?
Building permits, no approvals of any kind.
All right, so don't have to vote on tabling it or anything, so.
It's a motion, you really.
Yeah. Yep, true. Thank you.
That's what I'm here.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes, table. Future date, actually.
So I've written until issues with the developer resolved.
And on to item 11, reports from boards, commissions, committees, fire and EMS.
You were there, so.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
So we approved both the fire
Yeah.
and EMS budgets for 2026.
We're meeting Thursday night to discuss them further.
That's all I know.
Library,
Nothing.
planning commission, that's me. Most of these items that we just talked about. are Agenda and. Approving the beer garden for Dam Bar, we did that. So was it, we covered it tonight. Zoning Board of Appeals.
They had two variance requests ahead of them. One of them will be, both were approved. One was just a fence on the west side and the other one is a lot thing that was approved. Then the plan commission will see that rezone and stuff now, in the future. And then you'll see it, so.
Looking at a motorized gas and electric bicycle and scooter ordinance and the captain and officer hirings.
And some governance.
Met last Monday, discussed the utilities and kid budgets. Again, I would encourage you, if you, next Monday night at 6 o'clock at the old, or at the whatever library, old library, whatever.
We need to
Figure out names for.
It's on 130 South Vine.
Yeah, okay, at 130 South Vine, we're gonna try that, would be the group that will be the guinea pigs that works over there. So next week, we will look at the entire budget, and then make a recommendation to the board, so we can have a public hearing in early November. So I would encourage you all to attend if you can, so.
And
That's next
ordinances.
Monday.
Next Monday night at 6.
Even the ordinances.
Yeah, I don't know if it's probably just be budget this one, but yeah. Then come November, we will be, tackling all the ordinances, so we get those done early in 2026, so.
CDA.
You guys-
It was changed. It's the first Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
Yep. And you guys did the main thing
And we did what?
today.
Yes, the raise.
Yes.
Any news and announcements? Any upcoming community events? We got UFO days coming.
Saturday.
Actually, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, give events.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's days now.
Sunday too.
Jeez.
Sunday.
I think there's stuff in.
Anyone else have any announcements?
You guys have been getting a lot of emails from Dependable, I'm assuming. So I don't know what their deal is, but I just logged on to see why I'm getting like 20 of them. And if you log on and go to settings, all the way at the bottom, there used to be a place where you could put how many times a day, what frequency you would get them. There now is a button that lets you turn off message review notifications. So
I got 6 of them since I worked today, so.
I've gotten
Yeah,
like,
they have-
20 I'm not even kidding, 20 of them.
I think they're having some issues like everyone else is, where everybody's getting repeat emails.
IT.
the help desk. IT.
It's the email notifications that say you've got something in quarantine.
I don't have any.
Anyways, I don't know, I just did it. I'm gonna see if it works. So just know that that option is there. That's what I used before to get it once a day.
Any future agenda items?
Hey, so the public hearing on the budget happens, next.
November 5th or November
Third.
3rd.
Please don't come on the fifth, do come on the third.
November 3rd. So the next finance committee meeting on the 27th. The board or the finance committee will review the entire budget, which you guys have, if you've been attending, you've seen.
Monday the 27th.
Yep. And then they will make a recommendation to the board on the 3rd. You guys will not make a final recommendation. If there's anything that you guys want to change or anything like that, that is the time. I'll go through the budget presentation all over again from the 27th. And then like word for word. Then on the next Monday, the 17th, the regular board meeting, we'll approve the budget. You'll approve the budget. We will approve any rates changes. I don't think there were any, but if they were, we will approve the fee schedule, all the financial stuff.
Yeah, there aren't any changes to the fee schedule. There aren't any changes to rates. So we'll forego those. They will be setting the special charges and the delinquent utilities to be put on the tax roll. I think that's it.
All of that will be on the 17th, and it'll give you time to get everything done tax wise.
No vacations for you, Ian.
Right now, we're looking at a 0.2% tax increase for Dane and a 2% tax increase for.
And that's for 2026.
That is village taxes,
Yes,
Only.
not
the bill is
school or other entities.
Thank you.
Have a lovely pie chart to explain about the adventure.
All right. So that concludes communications and miscellaneous business. So we're gonna go into closed session now.
I make a motion to move into closed session.
Oh, I love that, but you gotta read,
I gotta read this first.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry, I can't not read it.
I know. I tried.
I'll let you jump right in though, when I'm done reading it. Village of Belleville will enter into a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 subsection 1, subsection E, for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating, purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified business wherever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The village board may reconvene into open session and take action on the subject matter discussed in closed session. We are discussing 3 items tonight, establishing a negotiation position for police service with other law enforcement agencies, discuss and consider an offer to purchase 1 West Main Street, Belleville, Wisconsin, 53508, and establish a negotiation position regarding the Park Meadows development.
Okay, now I make a motion. We go into closed session.
Second.
Debbie.
They're on the ground.
Ooh, okay, roll call,
I asked that permission to stay in on the closed session. I'm on the police committee.
oh,
No?
Sorry.
can't read all. Right, President Service,
Yes.
Trustee Bayman,
Yes.
Pongard.
Yep.
Cannon.
Yep.
Epocrat,
Yes.
Casmar,
Yes.
Ziegler.
yes.
Closed session at 7:24. session at 9:36.
Yeah, hot second.
Time's up. Oh, I'm.
It's like my children, Gary.
Thank you.
One.
Now that the camera's on, I just want to say that.
Did you want to
Very
adopt?
friendly,
It's probably up
friendly
for adoption.
conversation that we all enjoyed with each other and we did not disagree on anything.
Did this.
We are supposed to do.
There was no issue with disagreeing.
Hard conversation.
A long time ago, I think.
So you gonna make a motion?
I make a motion that we make an offer for
I'm gonna call it
Negotiation.
first negotiation.
One West Main as dictated in closed session.
I second it.
Motion by Scott, seconded by Debbie. Any discussion? No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
You're proposed? Nervous?
Yep.
Okay.
And I just want to remind everybody, tomorrow night's meeting is at the library, Public Works. No,
Work the new building.
The new
the
line.
new library.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So next Monday, we're
Monday night. is
That's
that-
what
Stuff moved over.
My house is at
We'll verify it and it'll be on the agenda where, actually from now on with the meetings being at 30 West Main, Village Hall being at 24, we're gonna have to keep the addresses on the agenda. So you'll be able to verify, especially since we still have meetings happening at police and library meets at the library and we're all combined. So, we are going to start posting agendas. We'll keep posting them here. We are gonna post them at 30 West Main as well. And when we move, if we move, what another building? 130 Vine Street. My goodness.
Wait, what?
I hate directions. Oh,
Cross the street.
the point is, we will keep.
Don't ever let her drive for the EMS.
No.
Ironically, I'm actually very good at directions. I'm very bad at speaking.
All right,
Good motion.
here's my man. Scott's got a move,
Second.
or not Scott, sorry,
Tony.
Tony,
Shelley.
second by Shelley.
So does there much on the?
Looking at the
there wasn't
names.
much on the-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 9:39.